Please turn to page 191 for the Common Core opinion writing lessons. Before we go into this chapter, let's first of all identify what is an opinion. And how I like to do that at this K1 level is just show you through holding your hands like a book and opening it up, is saying, I, the reader, tell what I think or how I feel about information or a story I have read. So let's practice that again. An opinion is when I, the reader, tell how I think or what I feel about information or a story I have read. Now we know what an opinion is. When we're looking at what an opinion is then, an opinion is going to say, what do I think? Or how do I feel about information or a story that I have read? So now we know that an opinion is I, the reader, tell what I think or how I feel about information I've read or a story I've read. Now let's look at, we've just said an opinion is what we think or feel about information or a story we've read. When we're saying what we think, we're talking about information. So we want to say that information is full of interesting or gripping or unusual facts. When I'm declaring that I have an opinion about information that we've read, then this is what we say. I have an opinion. The information in the story is full of interesting facts or unusual facts or gripping facts. So this is how we start off our opinion when we read information. Let's try it for a story now. When we've read a story, then what are we going to say is how we feel about the story. The story has many blank parts, and in that blank we want to put our opinion. Many funny parts, many wild and crazy parts, or maybe scary parts or sad parts. So now you're putting a lot of an emotion. So now you're putting emotion many times for the story at this grade level. So let's go back and review. I, the reader, will tell how I think or feel about information I've read or a story I've read. This chart can be used after you have an opinion about a story. Before filling in your opinion organizers, you can visually show children, I have an opinion about the information we've read. And then you can state, this book is filled with, and then notice our blank, facts. And you can say interesting facts, gripping, silly, strange facts. You decide what kind of facts were in the book to kick off your opinion. Here's your chart after you read a story and you have an opinion. This way you can visually show children that you have an opinion about a story and what kind of opinion you'll have, whether you'll have an opinion about the character or about the story itself. When you have an opinion about a character, you put the character's name on this line, and then over here you put a personality trait. So Henny Penny is hardworking. If you have an opinion about a story, then you would talk about the different types of parts that were in the story. This book is filled with funny parts. This book is filled with embarrassing parts, scary parts, strange parts. Once you state your opinion about the story, then you can go to the graphic organizer to fill it in. On page 192 on this blank page, we're going to take notes so that we identify all the parts of an opinion. Then on the right page, on 193, we're going to look at the organizers that we'll use at this grade level. So you can see, as we go up the different stages, we will be including these different descriptors that I'm going to show you that ultimately you will want your students to have in their opinions. Now let's look at all the elements that kinder and first grade need to have in their opinions. First, we're going to outline all those necessary elements, and then you're going to see on the right page the different organizers. We have 4 stages all together for kinder and first grade. Kinder will only work on stages 1 and 2. First grade, you could go back to stages 1 and 2 as a review, and then go all the way up to stage 4 to finish the first grade level, to match and align to your Common Core standards. Now, before we do that though, I want to outline what the ultimate goal is for you to teach your students. What do we need to have in an opinion? So, first of all, let's look at we need our kids to be polite. You can't just say, I thought it was full of funny parts. What was full of funny parts? What are you talking about? When we declare an opinion, we need to first of all let the reader know what we're having an opinion about. So we need to have the title. And then eventually we'll also include the author. So I like to say, be polite. Say the title, or be polite. Tell who the author is. So then that way the kids know, oh, I have to be polite. I can't just tell you my opinion and you don't know what I'm talking about. Be polite to the people that are listening to you, your readers. So tell them what the title is or the author. Once we tell the title and the author, then we move on and we give our opinion. And we already talked about what our opinion would be, so we know we're going to say what we think or how we feel. And typically when you think, that's going to be your info, and feel is going to be a story. After we give our opinion about what we think about the information or what we think about the story, then the next thing we need to do is we need to prove it. We need to go back into the story and find proof that backs up our opinion. And in order to do that, we need to have a picture or some sort of text that we read in the story to back up our opinion. That's our proof, also known as evidence. So we have a title and an author. Be polite. Tell the author and the title before you even give your opinion. Now give your opinion. What do you think or feel? Once you give your opinion, prove it, prove it, prove it. Back it up. Find evidence to back up your opinion. So we go into the book and we look at a picture or we look at text that we read or a combination of both in order to back up our opinion. And then finally, the last thing that we want to do is make a connection. We want students to make a connection. We want them to connect their opinion about what happened in this story. And what I mean by that is the evidence that they selected to back up their opinion. They want to take that evidence and connect it to themselves. So does this remind you about something that happened to you that's similar? Or another book that they read, or something in the world. So that's called a connection. A connection is the text that you're reading, and in this case, we're going to be very specific, the evidence, what we found in the text that backs up our opinion. Make a connection to that evidence to yourself, to another book, or to something that you can say is similar that you've seen in the world. So that's text to self, text to text, or text to world. We have our elements that we eventually will, as we move up these stages, the kids will have all these elements by the time they hit stage 4. Your students, by the time they hit stage 4, will have a title, the author, their opinion, they will have the prove it, the evidence, and then they will also make a connection. This is our ultimate goal by the time we hit stage 4. Let's look now on the next page, on page 193. How do we have this set up? Well, we have our kinder standards on the left side, and we have our first grade standards on the right. Those are your Common Core standards for opinion writing according to your grade level. Below each one of your grade levels, you will see the stages that are assigned to you. Kindergarten, you are assigned stages 1 and 2 in order to align and match your standards. First grade, you're assigned stages 1 through 4 in order to align to your Common Core standards. Notice these organizers are different than the narrative and the expository. At stage 1, you're going to see a box here, and then in that box, the kids will only draw a picture for their evidence. So this is where they'll draw a picture, and then they're going to write the title of the story. So notice this stage 1 is very simple. It's really just teaching kids to have an opinion, find a picture to back up that opinion, so the picture is the evidence, and then write the titles. So at that point, they're going to learn what a title is, and also they're going to learn how to capitalize a title. This is what we're going to address at stage 1. When they hit stage 2, they're going to continue with a picture, but then notice they have a closed type of sentence here. This is in the organizer, and they're not filling in this organizer. This is actually going to be little closed sentences that they're going to use and then write out on their own paper. Why do I have that there? Because this is very academic type of writing. When we want kids to have sentences that sound more academic, that include the title and author and their opinion, at first at these lower levels, we begin with more closed sentences. Just to let you know, as they go up the grade levels, by the time they hit second grade, they will start to transfer over to just plain organizers that they're going to use in order to write their opinions. But because of these stages 1 through 4, they're developing that academic language and understanding that you need in order to have a full-blown opinion. So these are really critical stages. You're teaching children what they need to have an opinion, but also that academic language they need through these organizers. So if you look at stage 2, you have your picture for your evidence, but then you have your closed sentences there. So they include the title of the book and their opinion in a very short little couple of sentences so that they begin writing out their opinions at stage 2. And notice right below this, you see all the descriptors of what they need in that opinion. So now we have stage 2. They have 2 to 3 sentences, a picture for the opinion, and what are they writing? The title, their opinion, and their proof. So notice we're moving from stage 1 to stage 2, and we're increasing the rigor. Stage 3 is only assigned to first grade. Of course, kinder, if you have kindergartners who can keep going and move up in their writing levels, go ahead and do it. There's nothing wrong with that. But this is where we want our first graders definitely to be. This stage is so that they can learn the elements of an opinion before they actually get to writing. So if I'm a first grade teacher, I may go back to stages 1 and 2 temporarily, or I may just begin the year on stage 3. It really depends on your students where you think you need to begin. Just to let you know though, stage 3 is really for them to learn those elements of what need to be an opinion without actually having to get to the writing and a lot of the academic language. So let me show you. If you look at this organizer, up at the top, we're going to write the author's name. So again, you're going to learn what the author is, and you're also going to learn how to write and have the correct capitalization for the name. We're going to continue with the title of the book here. Then they're going to circle some sort of a picture, and that picture is going to have the emotion or what they think about the story or text. This box is going to be a picture for them to back it up to prove their opinion. And then finally, we have our connection. So at stage 3, they are going to have a picture, an opinion, proof, and a connection, as well as the author and title. The only writing at this level, though, will be of the author's name and the title of the book. Once they have these elements down really well, and they know how to give an opinion, back it up, and make a connection, then you move to stage 4. And in stage 4, you will have one paragraph. That's where you're going to, in this paragraph, have the author and the title, have your opinion. You're also going to have your reaction and proof, a connection, and a recommendation. So we're going to have all these elements in this paragraph for the first graders to write about text they've read or a story they've read. Let's go through each one of the stages so you can see how to do this with your kindergartners and first graders.